Section 2 looks at conducting the meeting. In Section 2, you've also got 4 steps: the different types of meetings, characteristics of a meeting, the duties of the chairperson of a meeting, and preparing and planning for the meeting. Let's look at the different types of meetings. So, there's many different types of meetings, and I'm going to now discuss a few of them. You've got a consultative meeting, and this consultative meeting is where you are consulting with either your staff members and you are looking for a resolution. Then you've got informative meetings, and at this meeting, you are literally informing staff about information. You are either giving information or you're trying to get information. So we've discussed two so far. We've looked at consultative meetings and informative meetings. Then you've got your problem solving meetings. And in your problem solving meetings, we look at gaining commitment. So we look at gaining commitment from staff, and that's what you're looking at in problem solving meetings. You've got the problem at hand, you sit, you discuss, you're looking for a solution, and when you look for a solution, what comes next after that? Commitment in working towards that solution. Then you look at your negotiating meetings, and the negotiating meetings, you are creating a platform for where all individuals in that meeting gains some sort of agreement or makes some sort of an agreement towards what is being discussed in that meeting. Then you've got your briefing meeting and your consultation meeting. Your briefing meeting is where instructions from business or instructions from higher reporting structures are being given through, and you need to brief the staff about what is happening either with a process in a department or the next steps in changing the standard operating procedures. Then I spoke about your consultation meetings. Consultation meetings are not consultative meetings, but these are your regular monthly meetings that you have in a department. They are usually you usually call them your monthly management meetings, but these meetings is an all-round meeting where each month there's specific topics that you discuss. For example, if you in a department and you discussing the sales that were made for the month, you're discussing profits, you're discussing sales, you're discussing income, you're discussing any new ideas for the future, those are consultation meetings. So far, we've discussed your informative meetings. Those are information giving or getting. We've discussed your consultative meetings. That is where you are consulting on resolving objectives. That's consultative meetings. We discussed negotiating meetings. The negotiating meetings is where we're creating an agreement between all parties. Then we discuss the problem solving meetings. Problem solving meetings is where we are trying to gain commitment from all. We've looked at your briefing meetings. Those meetings are usually instructions that are given down from senior manager or from the business level that comes down to a department. And then we looked at your consultation meetings. Those are usually your monthly management meetings. Characteristics of a meeting. Characteristics are always highlighted at meetings. For example, you'll be sitting in a meeting and you've got two individuals that totally disagree with what each other is saying. And immediately you think of, that's a debate. They're debating in a meeting. So there's a few characteristics that's pointed out at meetings. And these characteristics play a pivotal part in meetings. So you've got your debate characteristic. These are individuals at a meeting that usually don't agree with what's being said, and they debate it out at the meeting. But the most important thing to know at characteristics of a meeting is that they must follow the agenda. They must follow the agenda. Then you've got your motion. Not emotion, but a motion, where a proposal is put forward. A motion is put forward for consideration. And in a motion at a meeting, The individuals that are present at the meeting are the individuals that will decide on the motion being put forward. You've got your decision making at a meeting. This characteristic is very important. You usually have the chairperson that will have the authority on how the decisions are going to be made and who will be the people or the individuals involved in making the decisions at the meetings. You've got your amendments. The amendments at a meeting are where you need to change what's currently being done in a department, or you need to look at a consideration that has been put forward and you need to change that. Amendments for a meeting. Then you've got your voting at a meeting. Voting at a meeting is where information is put forward, discussed, agreed upon, and then you have parties voting on either a yes or no. These are the types of characteristics you will find in a meeting. How to chair a meeting. Firstly, you need to understand that chairing a meeting is not given to every individual. A chairman is elected, and this is done by all parties putting in a vote on who they would like to chair the meeting. A chairman is there to make sure that all the constitutional and legal stipulations of a meeting is adhered to. The chairman will make sure that any additional discussions added to the meeting is done fairly. Each person is given a fair chance in speaking at a meeting, or each person is given an opportunity to speak or air their views at a meeting. And you'll usually find a chairman is running the entire meeting. The chairman is the one that will make sure that the agenda is being followed, that the time that's allocated to each point on the agenda is being followed. A chairman will make sure that if a debate arises in a meeting, he will be able to calm it down at the meeting. But the chairman is there to make sure that all the legal proceedings of a meeting is adhered to and the time allocated to any meeting is strictly adhered to. Preparing for your meeting. Now, we've already discussed quite a lot in preparing for your meeting, but the first thing you need to ask yourself when you prepare for a meeting is this meeting necessary? Many a times you'll find that if you want to set up a meeting, this can be done quickly over a telephone call, a chat, or you can send out a memo to all staff, or by sending out an email with the information that needs to be discussed. And the reason we ask, is a meeting necessary? You must remember that in the 8 hours that you have allocated, 8-9 hours allocated in a day at work, you've got work that is already planned for those hours. So calling a meeting is literally taking an individual out of their daily work and now it's literally stealing time off their work. So you need to ask the question, is the meeting really necessary? Can I take this meeting and add it as an agenda point into a bigger meeting? We spoke about a consultation meeting. Those are your regular monthly management meetings. Can I take what I want to discuss today in today's meeting and add it as an agenda point? Or can I just send out a memo to the entire team? So that's very important, is asking the question, is a meeting necessary? And many a times you'll see that you don't really need to call a meeting. You can send out a memo, you can have a quick chat, or even pick up the phone and make a telephone call to the relevant people. So that is a very big important point when planning and preparing for your meeting. Second to that is, what is the purpose of this meeting? What do you want to achieve? What is the outcome? Once you've done discussing the points that you have in your meeting, are you going to be able to follow through to get your desired outcome? That's very important. Having a meeting, spending all this time, putting in plans in place to try and achieve what you've discussed in your meeting, and then at the end of your time that you've got allocated to it, you don't really get your desired outcome. It goes back to point number one. Was then the meeting necessary? You look at what are your objectives of the meeting? What are the goals of the meeting? So these are very important when planning for the meeting. Who are the relevant people, the relevant or required people that need to be at the meeting? And the most important, I would think, is your time allocated for the meeting. Do you want to sit in a 1 hour meeting that can be discussed in 30 minutes? So, time allocated for the meeting is very important, as we don't want it to be a time waster.